Today's math video has to do with distance and lengths in something called a metric system, okay? So the idea is which unit makes the most sense to measuring. There's a unit called millimeters for little things. There's a unit called centimeters, and I'm sure you're familiar with, for still small things but bigger than the millimeter. These are in size from smallest to biggest that we're going to use anyway. There's more in between here actually. Meter is, some of you are just about a meter or more tall, okay? That is about a yard, we call that, or 3.5 feet maybe, 3 feet, 3 1/4 foot. And then a kilometer or kilometer, depending on where you're from, is a unit where you measure big distances, okay? So you just want to get familiar that the millimeter is the smallest for small things, centimeter is a little bigger for little bigger things, meter is even bigger for things like your uncle's height or the length of your bed, and kilometer or kilometer would be like how tall or how far away are you from Jupiter or Juneau, Alaska. Okay, let me go over these a little bit.
So the first unit to consider is millimeter. Think small. What kind of objects would you measure with millimeters? So that's my toothbrush. To measure this, maybe the gaps between the bristles, the spots between the bristles, maybe I'd measure that in millimeters. Or how high is a bristle? Notice there's my finger for some space relation there. It's not very big. I'd measure that in millimeters. It's not very much. My bike tires are measured in millimeters. Across here, 25 millimeters. Not very big, 25 millimeters. They're skinny. Look at, there's my finger to give you some idea. 25 millimeters. So millimeters are for small things. The next size up, centimeter. Okay, centimeter is still for measuring kind of small things, relatively speaking anyway. And remember, they're small, but they're bigger than a millimeter, which is what mm stands for. So let me give you an idea like what you measure in centimeters. Okay, so a centimeter, when I put it in this calculator, 1 centimeter is as big as 0.39 inches. So it's less than half an inch. Now we just did some inches things. I don't need you to know, like, convert this, but just know that a centimeter is about a half an inch, a little smaller, and so not very big. So what makes sense to measure in centimeters? What kind of things? Well, how tall is our book Winn-Dixie? You could measure that in centimeters. It's way bigger than the other things I showed you in millimeters, but it's not that big. But it's about 7 inches tall, so it would be, about 15, 16 centimeters. And just get that unit in your head. Not very big. A centimeter for things that are kind of big, bigger than really tiny, but not that big. Okay, this is a guitar amp I'm borrowing from a friend with a baseball card to show you the scale. So it's pretty big. It's not real big, so I could measure that in centimeters. I could measure across in centimeters, or I could measure up and down in centimeters. On a bike, the tubes are called different names. This one running across the bike is called a tube top tube actually, and that is 60 centimeters from there to there. Okay, that's how they size it. So again, that's not too far. It's bigger than a millimeter, right? It'd be a lot of, but so we measure in centimeters, 60. The next unit is called a meter. That's for big and bigger things, okay? So a meter is like 3 feet long and 3 inches, okay? So that's pretty good size. It's like taller than your table at school, for instance. Let me show you some things you would measure in. You could measure me in meters. I am 1.9 meters tall. So people's heights. How far is it from my house to my garage? meter. How tall is this tree that's taller than me? How far is it from home plate to the outfield? Meters. The next and last unit, the biggest unit we're going to use, is kilometers or kilometers. And think big, long, and high, what you would measure in this unit, okay? This would be like miles would be a good English standard comparison probably. All right, let's look at a few things that we would measure in kilometers. Suppose we were going from St. Paul to Los Angeles in a car. How many kilometers would that be? A lot. 3,105.7 kilometers. There it is. Kilometers is for large distances. Planning a trip to Saturn? Well, it's only 1.2 billion kilometers. So again, kilometers, large distances. That would be the unit that you would choose. How high is Mount Everest in kilometers? According to this, is 8.8. That's a mountain. If you're measuring a mountain, you use kilometers. It's big, use kilometers. So if I asked you to measure how tall this was, what unit would you use? Here, I'll put my finger by it. It's not very big. So what unit would you use to measure the height of that guitar? You'd want to pick millimeters because it's not very big. It's not very big at all. So millimeters, because of its size, would be the right choice. Millimeters for something small. Okay, pretend I'm asking you to measure this water bottle. I left a guitar pick there to show you the size difference. What would I use? What measurement unit would I use? What metric measurement unit, easy for me to say, what metric measurement unit would I use? Bigger than that, but not too big. The correct unit this time, centimeters. Measure that water bottle in centimeters. How long is my front porch? There's that water bottle. Well, it's a lot longer than that water bottle. Meters seems to be like the right answer to me. The correct unit to measure the length of my porch. Meters. Okay, pretend we were going far away, like to Montreal, Canada. It's in another country. It's far away. What unit of measure would I use? That's right, kilometer or kilometer. So these will be your four choices. They're listed in now from smallest to greatest, okay? So really tiny things that scientists might need, or like really precise things, millimeter. Centimeters, a little bigger things that you can probably hold in your hands that aren't bigger than you, centimeters. Meter, for bigger things, not huge necessarily, that they could be really big. They could be like a football field, could be measured in meters. So meters are like yards, or about 3 feet. So think of that. And then kilometers, kilometers, for bigger things, for longer distances, for higher heights. Okay? Think of it like that. Good luck. You got a 1 in 4 chance anyway. I know you're going to think and get the right answer. I look forward to seeing your work, and I miss you very, very much.